Flannery interviews Sara Pennypacker, the author of Summer of the Gypsy Moths.
So, what books did you grow up reading that you think influenced your writing?
Oh my goodness, it changes all the time. I'm asked that, and sometimes I'll just think of a book. For instance, lately I was thinking of Heidi. Did you read Heidi?
I've seen the movie, but I haven't read it.
Oh, read the book. I would recommend reading the book. Oh my goodness. I loved Heidi so much, I begged my parents to let me sleep in a mat. I wanted to fill my pillowcases with straw, and I begged to have goats. And I did. They let me have goats. I remember that. I loved Robinson Crusoe. I had several books that I really liked, but you know what? I loved The Secret Garden. That was a favorite one. When I was a kid, there weren't as many books for kids, though. I will tell you that. So I think I reread my favorites over and over. Heidi was a favorite.
Yeah, I've reread the Clementine books over and over and over.
Have you? I'm so happy. You know, that makes me really happy to hear that. The way I think of it, it's like books and writing, it's like this long, big stream of forever. And I read books that I loved, and therefore when I write, maybe some certain part of that comes into it. And then you read those books, and what if you grow up to be a writer? You will remember the Clementine books, which had a little Heidi in them, and then your books will have both. I think that's pretty nice.
So which part of The Hero's Guide did you enjoy writing the most?
The part that I enjoyed writing the most, I enjoyed writing, probably had the most fun having the princes meet each other. Because I had these characters that were from 4 different stories, and they were 4 very, very different characters that I developed. And I didn't really know what would happen when they met each other. So as each new prince came into the story, it changed the way my 4 protagonists would interact with each other. And as the group got bigger, went from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, it just became more fun for me. I liked, because I felt like these characters developed lives of their own, and a lot of times I felt like I was just kind of sitting back and watching to see what they did.
Yeah. They're very different. So which of your characters?
Stella has an obsession with Heloise. Do you relate to that?
Do I relate to it? Here's the deal. These two girls in my book, they have the same problem in their life, is that they've had no home for several years. One of them reacts the way Stella does, which is she is just all about making a home. Her hero begins to Heloise, because she figures Heloise just keeps a home, just everything's perfect and everything's where it's organized and you do things a certain way. And Angel is the opposite. She's like, I don't have a home. That's because all fate is bad fate and you can't control anything. So they're both really reacting sort of too rigidly. I relate to both of them. Sometimes I think if I control things really, really tight the way Stella wants to, I'll be okay. And sometimes I just really think, nope, I'm not going to do anything. Let's see what happens. So I would say I relate to all my characters, some piece of them.
So which of your characters do you resemble the most? And then which character do you want to resemble the most?
That's a good question. Frederick is the character that is the most based on me. I am not a very adventurous person. I can be very timid in real life. I don't like to get dirty. I tend to wash my hands many, many times a day. So there's a lot of me in Frederick. And in a way, the character that I might want to be more like, strangely enough, is Duncan. Duncan is a complete oddball. He's totally weird and wacky, but the part of him that I would love to have is that he's this total go-with-the-flow kind of guy. Nothing phases him. No matter how odd, weird, dangerous, crazy the situation is, he is not flustered by it. And I do wish I was a little more like that.
If you had to babysit either Stella or Angel, which one would you choose?
These are really good questions. All right, if I had to babysit them, can I pick Clementine? No, I guess I can't right now. I have to talk about this book. I guess Stella. Stella kind of breaks my heart. I chose her to be the main character for that reason, because my heart just breaks when I think about what she's trying to do, how hard she's trying to hold it all together. So I guess her, and if I babysat her, I would try and tell her not to worry so much, that she could let go a little bit.
So I heard that The Hero's Guide has been optioned for a movie. What excites you and concerns you about seeing it on the screen?
Well, what excites me is the prospect of seeing it on the screen, period. I would be incredibly excited if it actually does end up getting made. I don't really have too many concerns. I guess maybe I would if it gets closer to it actually happening. I would hope, most of all, I think I would hope that they stay true to the characters, that the characters in the movie resemble the characters in the book, not just physically but emotionally as well, and that they, because I feel like the story is really driven by the characters, so even if things in the plot change, if they have to cut stuff out like they always do in movies, I will be happy, I would be very happy as long as the characters are true to the way I wrote them.
Did you base any of the characters or things that happened on real people or events?
I would say that everything in almost all of my books, almost everything is based. The way I describe it is I play Mr. Potato Head all the time. Do you know how to play Mr. Potato Head? You know how you got all these little tiny characteristics. You got some eyes and then another set of eyes and then a different set of eyes and then a different set of eyes. So you're constantly making a character by using little details. And I like to use very real details. So yes, in fact, there are many stories in that see, none of them are based on characters, like Stella isn't based on someone, but all the things that she does and says are things that I remember through my life people saying or doing. So I just put them in different ways. I really like that about being an author, is being able to remember and choose some special details, wonderful things that people have said or done, and then I get to say to them, I'd really like to put this in a book. Do you mind? Would you like that? And they usually say yes. And if they said no, I wouldn't do it, but I asked that. So the details are all real, yes.
So I also heard that Hero's Guide is going to be, you're going to make a second book. Is there anything you can tell us about it?
Well, yeah, I'm almost done with the second book. There'll be at least 3. But I'm almost done with the second book. It is titled The Hero's Guide to Storming the Castle. And you will see all 4 princes will be back. All the princesses will be there as well. There's some new villains. And as you can tell from the title, there'll be a storming of a castle in the plot. There is also, there's a circus that comes into the plot also, which I think will be kind of fun. And I'm hoping to take these characters just in some new and kind of unexpected places that you might still not expect them to go. And throughout the first book, these guys are all trying to, well, the guys and the women also are trying to find out how they can become heroes in their own right. They're all looking for their own personal way to be a hero. And, you know, without giving too much away, at the end of the first book, that's not all completely fulfilled. So they're still on that journey. And they're going to keep going on that journey to try to figure out how they can become real heroes by the end of the series, whenever that is.
I'm excited to read them.
Thanks.
Are there any other books that you're working on?
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. I am finishing up a book that's going to be for really little kids. It's going to be a picture book. It's called The Dullards. And then it's about a family of very dull people. They're really dull. And then I've begun something that I think will be a really big project for me. It will probably take me at least 2 years to write it. It seems very difficult and challenging. It will be called PAX. It will be my first book for young adult, meaning kids older than 14. And it will have some pretty serious topics in it. I'm struggling with it, but I'm happy to be struggling. It makes it much more interesting to me every time. So yes, and luckily, I know what I will be working on for the next 4 years. I have 4 books ready to be written.
And what about you? Are you planning anything else?
I don't have anything else specifically planned outside of the Hero's Guide series. Like I said, right now I'm working on finishing up book 2. I'm in the revision process. And I'll probably keep revising it for a little while longer. I tend to revise my books more than I spend actually writing them the first time. And after that, I'm going to move right on to book 3 and see where it goes from there.
Okay, thank you both for coming today.
You're very welcome. Thank you. That was
Thank you
a
so much for
terrific
having me.
interview, may I say.
Very nice, very
I am
great
very
question.